Hello, my international professionals. Here's Storani, your international career consultant. And today I have a live session with Shona, which is our senior career consultant and also manager, about the insights and not like what recruiters would like to see, would like to know, like about in your CV, or what not to do during your application or during your, like anything, your interview. Is the inside out, the inside of the recruitment,
insights
insights of the recruitment process. Yeah. So tell everyone, Shona, about your experience, because I have like 5 years of experience as recruiter. I'm always interviewing recruiters. Sorry. This week I interviewed a senior recruiter, Ricardo. We had like 2 hour session, like 2 hours content creation for our channel and for the VIP membership area, and we covered like the topics candidates have the most difficult or the most doubts, like what's the best time to ask about salary, should I ask, should I tell the recruiter that I need a sponsorship, when should I tell the recruiter, all this like tricky questions. And we covered everything. It was amazing. And tell me about your experience.
So I have been a member of the Storani team for the last 6 years. So initially starting in, obviously, from a CV writing perspective, content editing, hello, good evening, welcome. And then stepping into a more senior consultant role, and more recently then into team leader. So it's been so lovely to grow within the team and see just how much the team has grown and developed since those very, very early days, all the new processes and materials that have been established. And then my past experience, at its very core and root, I was in recruitment for a year, but I joined recruitment at a very funny time. It was in 2009, and we were firing more than we were hiring. So it was a very, very challenging time to step into recruitment. And then I left it for a long time. I left it for 8 years, and I was in leadership in hospitality throughout the sales division. And then I had the opportunity to step back into what I love so much, which is the accompanying of talent as they try and find their pathways and figure out what are their skills and how do they apply them into the market and what has changed in the market. So I've seen a lot happen and change in these last 10 years. And yeah, it's been such an interesting journey being on this side of the desk, on the client side rather than on the recruitment side, because I guess as a recruiter, I didn't realize just how much amazing talent was out there. And we get to see it every day because we accompany amazing candidates across all sorts of sectors. So it's amazing to see what's out there.
Exactly. So let's start to cover about the don'ts.
Yes.
What recruiters don't like about candidates and the candidates' behaviors, and a few little things that happens as well.
Okay.
So for me, in my opinion, when the candidate is not really prepared for the interview, it's really annoying because, well, the first thing is when there's a no-show. No-show.
Oh, this is terrible. Yeah.
Like without a message, without a notification, like whatever happens, no shows are horrible. And also when the candidate shows up and is not prepared, it's really difficult.
I totally agree with that. We have an expression in English, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And if you show up at an interview, and recruiters can feel it within minutes, it doesn't take long to see if a candidate doesn't really know why they're there. It shows a lack of passion, it shows a lack of commitment. And remember, those early moments of interaction, whether that's through LinkedIn email or whether it's over the phone at the pre-screening or the first time you step in the room, this establishes or the beginning of a relationship with the recruiter. So if you're starting on a bad foot, it really, I guess, it curses the rest of the relationship. So those early steps, those first interactions are so important.
Exactly. And it's like, this is very key for you to get the job, to prepare, to study the company, to know that, and don't have the answers. Like you have to be prepared, but you have to mix, like the best practice answers with your experience, because some
Absolutely.
answers are like YouTube answers, or even like our document. We have like a document to prepare candidates for the interview. And for example, Ricardo, he was saying to me, Tana, sometimes like the candidate was saying exactly what was in the document, your document. Like I could see he had just rehearsed, and like he was saying exactly, like so vague, so generic, the answer.
Yeah, and that's anything you see online, whether that's LinkedIn, hello there, Jayapal, whether that's LinkedIn practice answers or our consulting materials. Remember, guys, it's there as a guidepost. It's absolutely not a script that you should be reading from. You have to get natural and familiar with your experience, because if you can't sell that, that's the end of the interview. That's a straight no. You've got to feel confident talking about your content, not a script.
Exactly, the script. So how do you prepare yourself? Again, it's not in one day you're going to prepare yourself, right?
No.
So you have to take your time, get like inside knowledge from maybe people that works in the company. That's the best way to prepare yourself. Call someone if you know someone that works in the company. Call that person, or at least ask someone that knows anyone that works for that company. Ask, how is the culture? How is like what they like to hear from candidates or from people that works in that company, because each company is different. So for example, LinkedIn, they have like you had to live and breathe the culture, the LinkedIn culture, like the values and the mission. So you had to like repeat the values every day. Everyone used LinkedIn values, so it was like super important for the candidate to tell these values during the interview. How do you know that? Only talking to people that works there.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point, Tana. The company's vision, mission, and value statement, which often is available on their website, by the way, guys, if you're doing your homework, you can find that easily. But understanding what is the nature of the business, how do they establish their brand on the market, determines how you establish yours with them. And as Tana said, that failure to prepare, that failure to understand. So for example, we hear about like being a Googler. So we know that being Google, yes, it's a huge corporate, but there is that sense of they want their staff to feel very at home. So for example, it's not uncommon to show up to an interview in Google wearing Converse trainers. It's very rare that an IT tech support would show up in a full black suit, for example. And if you did, you would instantly stand out of their culture. So it's understanding what the company is about, and do you fit into that? Not just your skills, but your culture, what you bring.
Exactly. And so I was talking to Ricardo, and he said that something that he really feels candidates lack. It's like when they are telling about their experience, is to be concise and direct to the point. Because
really good point.
Recruiters have only 30 minutes to interview candidates. And most of the times candidates, they think talking too much is the best option, is good, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's not hitting the nail, if you're not getting to the point. That's why knowing how to effectively apply something like the STAR methodology is so important, because it keeps
Exactly.
you on track. And I think one of the biggest, another don't, is when a recruiter asks you, so tell me about yourself. And then someone gives all the life story. And I understand when you're nervous, it's very easy to have this almost, like we would say, verbal diarrhea. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. So it's easy to get lost in your story. Whereas if you've got to think about your summary on your CV, your languages, your education, your years of experience, and your core skill, but you want to really tip the main points rather than give every job you've ever had all in that first question, because what's the next question then? Tell us about your experience. So you've got to keep yourself on track and on check in your mind as well.
Yeah, concise, right? Remember,
Absolutely.
the recruiter only have 30 minutes to interview, 30 to 45 minutes. Generally, that's, like the first screen, the first interview. So, and be direct to the point, answer what the recruiter is asking. And if you don't understand the answer, just ask again, apologize, and ask, sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't understand. Or, like just think, stop, think, breathe, then answer.
Absolutely.
You don't need to answer straight away, like blah, 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 whatever comes up in your mind. Breathe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's much better to take a moment to breathe and deliver a well executed answer than to dive in and say who knows what, because it's coming out in nervousness. And nerves are terrible. They affect everybody. Recruiters get nervous doing interviews. So you're not out of the box if you're nervous. But just relax, practice, breathe, record yourself before your interview, listen to the pitch and the tone and the speed, get comfortable with how you sound, because most people go into an interview with nerves, but it is about managing that.
Exactly. What else do you think is important, Shona?
So another big don't for me is don't walk into an interview and not know your audience. So for example, some candidates will think that if they read the Wikipedia page about a company, it means they know everything. But honestly, most recruiters don't really need you to know when the company opened its doors. That doesn't prove anything. What's going to be more important is, do you know what they're doing in the market now? How are they interrupting the market? What are they innovating? Are they opening new offices? Have they got a new CEO? Relevant information shows that you're passionate about a company. Knowing exactly how many employees it has and what day it opened its office proves nothing other than you read the Wikipedia page. So don't make the mistake of learning the wrong information about the company. Learn what's relevant, what's fresh, what's important.
And again, don't be afraid to reach out to recruiters on LinkedIn. Sure. Yes. Yeah. And never, ever send a message or email direct to the private email, to the private recruiter's email. So let's say you found out, like a LinkedIn, recruiter's LinkedIn, and there you see, the recruiter's private email, like at gmail.com. Do not send emails to this address.
Absolutely.
Recruiters hate it.
Yeah.
Hate it. Do you know what else they hate? But like a client of mine, he used to have he I don't know, he still works in sales, and he had recruiter sales, the product, like the sales stuff. What's the name? The sales, LinkedIn sales.
There's a name for it.
It's LinkedIn. Well, it's the solution for sales.
Sales Navigator.
Sales Navigator. Yeah, that's the one. And he could find people's email.
Oh no.
So he was emailing recruiters directly.
Oh yeah, no, that's not good.
And then he reached out to me saying, Tana, I'm emailing, like my resume directly to the recruiters. They're not answering me. And I was like, of course they're not. And they would never answer you, because this is a very unpolite and unprofessional
Yeah.
approach in the
Yeah,
European
absolutely.
market. You are
Yeah.
invading their space. Like,
Exactly. It's
how
a
do you
violation
sign
of
your
their private space.
mail?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And similarly, I've heard of candidates thinking that they're trying to build a relationship or build a rapport and following the recruiters on Instagram or Facebook. Equally, guys, this is off the table. This is people's private space. So there's got to be that line between your personal life and your professional life. There's being a proactive job
Mhm.
hunter, and then there's invading someone's privacy. So always know what that line is and respect it.
Exactly. So we have someone here asking, I always check the company and what they do, but don't think it's a brag deal in knowing them them that well. I actually never been in an interview where they asked me a single question about their business. Mm.
Yes. So in terms of knowing every detail about the company, I think that maybe is what.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, look, it's always, I always recommend to know as much as possible,
Oh, for
because
sure.
yes, in some cases, yes, they will, like for example at LinkedIn, they wanted to know if you knew all the products,
Yeah.
all the names, how they were selling the products, even if you were going to a different line of product. They wanted to know if you had the broad overview of the business. So like
Yeah.
I used to ask this question on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Your
Well, I
husband
mean,
used to work at LinkedIn.
yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
difficult they are during the interview. So the more famous the company is, the
The more
more
you're
difficult
expected
are
to
the
know.
interviews, and the
Yeah.
more they want to know how much knowledge you have about the product and the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. That's
So
the thing. It's what knowing the nature of their business is much more important than knowing when they open their doors. Do you know what they
yeah,
do? You would be surprised how many people don't really know or understand. It's like, oh, I was called for an interview, I'm going. And then the question is, well, who are the company? Well, I don't really know. That's not a good start, guys. You should be knowing who you're applying for jobs for. Like, you should have an understanding of what they are, what's their business, what's their product, as Tana said. And if you don't know that and you're called for interview, it will instantly show. So be aware and be strategic when you're sending your CVs.
yeah. For example, when I applied for a career consultant in Storani Careers, all right? It wasn't
Mhm.
this time. It was the last time. It was our first hiring, not this
Oh,
last
yes.
one. So I applied on Indeed, and this time we applied on LinkedIn, and we got like the talent pool was completely different.
Mhm.
Indeed, I got loads of candidates, and I selected, pre-selected few, and I was just, like calling them to check their availability. All right.
Mhm.
So I call one candidate, and when she answered, I was like, "Hi, my name is Tana. I work for Storani Careers. You applied for a yada 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 job, and I'm calling to see, like why you're interested in this job, and like your availability for a proper interview." And she was like,
Mhm.
"Who?" And I was like,
Oh.
"Tani Storani from Storani Careers." And she's like,
Mhm.
"Sorry, I don't remember. What's the position about?" And then I explained the position. She's like, "Oh, yes, I'm looking for any type of job. Anything is good for me." That moment, I was like, "No,
No. Instant
no."
no.
Instant no, because
Mhm.
she didn't apply because she was interested in the job in my company, working for
Yeah.
my company. She applied because she just wanted a salary, and
Yeah.
she would
Yeah.
be a troublemaker, a
Mhm.
problem, because she was
Yeah.
doing that for money, not for motivation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely perfectly said. And guys, you'd be surprised how many people don't fully understand the job they're applying for. Or very similar during recruitment drives, calling them and say, I've received your CV. I'd love to have a chat to you about the role. Okay. And what's your understanding of the role? Well, I don't really know. So you've got to ask the
Yeah.
question, if you don't know what the role is, why did you send your CV? And you've got to be ready to answer that, thinking about your skills, your achievements, your transferable knowledge.
Yeah.
You've got to be ready. Oh,
Yes,
Glacia,
Gloss is
thank
saying,
you.
loving these tips. We can actually use in any interview, not only for Ireland jobs. Yes, that's true.
Absolutely.
That's true. That's
These
true.
are international.
Yeah, yes. Other thing as well, guys, is but that's my Tana point of view. And I'm pretty sure a lot of recruiters also hate that, is when the candidate tries um to take control of the interview or the process.
Mm, mm, mm.
When you're
Yeah,
interviewing someone and the person, like turns your question into other questions, and like ask you things, while like I am the recruiter, I'm here to hear your experience, not you turning the questions and asking me,
yeah,
do you know,
yeah, yeah,
about the question I just asked. Or
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's true.
I
It's true.
hated that.
Yeah.
I had
It
to,
can
like,
often
go ahead.
set the tone that the person doesn't feel confident to answer the question, so they're trying to deflect.
Exactly. But like, I had to just be straight to the point, say like, sorry, I'm here to hear your experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
and
The
it just
recruiter, it's
comes
your time to
across,
shine.
and
Yeah, it's not
it's
good.
horrible because it come across as rude.
Yeah, of course, but
Like,
it's one of those things where you've got to remember that when you're interviewing for a role, it is your opportunity to support what you've said on your CV, to deliver proof that you are who you say that you are and you understand what you understand about your industry. So it's not really your opportunity to throw questions at the recruiter until the end. And then, of course, when they ask, do you have any questions for us? Then it's actually a great idea to have some questions ready. But throughout the interview, it is your moment to, as you should want to put your experience in the lights.
yeah. And also, other thing as well is when the candidate used to, very anxious candidates, they used to, like, email 30 times, like
Yeah.
I was, like, always saying like, feedback is gonna be, like, from next Friday to the following week. And they were like, emailing me the entire
Yeah.
week before Friday,
Yeah. Yeah,
almost
it's
every
true.
day.
This is very tough because one thing to remember, guys, is that recruiters in general, they're managing multiple contracts at any time, so particularly if
Yeah,
it's an outsourced recruiter where they have mass roles. So they're waiting sometimes for their client to come and give them a decision before they can give you a decision, or they're waiting on the hiring manager if it's internal. But they're it's a very high pressure job, and there is a lot of running and chasing from the recruiter's perspective. The last thing they need is external pressure. Now, it's still a good idea to follow up,
yeah,
of course, but with respect. I'm just leading from
yeah.
that. There's something I've experienced recently where, and it's just to be mindful of behaviors and how it can translate. Be respectful and mindful of the recruiter or the consultant or the colleague or hiring manager, of their personal time. So, for example, I had a recent experience where I was text in the middle of the night asking about something professional. And it set a really poor tone because it said, look, there is a window of time. We can say 9 to 5:30 or 10 to 6 or whatever, but Monday to Friday within reasonable hours, that it's perfectly acceptable to communicate or connect to somebody. Be mindful of time, particularly if there's a time difference. If you're sending an application for a job in Portugal and they're an hour and ahead, think about that. What time is it there? Is this appropriate? It's a Saturday morning. Should I wait till Monday? I probably should. So just be conscious and cautious and respectful of the recruiter's personal time, because it won't set a very good tone for you if you invade on that time.
Yeah, much more if it's a WhatsApp message.
Exactly.
Yes. So we have a question here. Do you think that open applications are a waste of time? What do you mean about open
Yeah.
applications?
Yeah, I'm curious about that as
Can
well.
you explain a little bit further? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I, I'm not sure either. If it's a case of just blanket sending CVs without analyzing jobs, and I think that is a terrible idea. That's
I
my
don't
opinion
know.
on that. You've got to be strategic. I'm not sure if that's the question. Maybe just
Yeah.
clarify so that we can give a bit more.
Hello,
Hello,
Guilherme.
Guilherme.
And so, yes, mindful about and how many. So you have to be mindful about how many times you email the recruiter. I highly recommend you to email one time, once. So wait, for example, so if the recruiter said until Wednesday, wait Thursday to send the email. Okay, one email and that's it. Don't keep up, like emailing the recruiter, because look, recruiters, they know which positions they have open, and they know all the candidates. Well, at least they should know. And a no reply is already an answer.
Yeah,
because
it is.
the candidates that are on the process are being, like answered first.
Yeah, exactly.
So a no reply is already an answer.
Yeah, it is.
This
It's not
negative.
always nice, and I know we would expect that kindness and that bespoke, and in a dream world, recruiters should be able to do that, but as time constraints put them under serious pressure, it's not always possible.
Exactly. Here. So some companies offer an open application as they are looking for various roles and they are not using an agency. Yes, I like the open applications. It's like, you send your CV to the database of Microsoft or whatever. What happens is companies, they have a software, all right? They have, it's called ATS. It's application tracking system. This software could be Oracle, could be Workday, could be JobVite, could be any. There are plenty of softwares that manage recruitment internally. All right. So what happens is when they open this open applications, your CV goes to their database. And when a position comes up, the recruiter search internally as well. So because for the company, it's expensive to pay LinkedIn and also job boards. I remember Monster.ie. Do you remember when I used to work? Yes, when I used to work at Sigma Recruitment, I remember Sigma was paying something like 20,000 euros to have 3 months access to Monster.ie. It was something like really expensive.
Goodness.
It was crazy. Or 6 months. It was a subscription. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
Companies, yes, they use as a strategy.
Yeah. So that's why don't put all your eggs into the LinkedIn basket. Of course, it's the first place to start, and it should be your core area of focus. But don't forget about the Indeeds, the Irish Jobs, the Monsters. They're all still functioning, and a lot of companies, especially the more old-fashioned ways of doing business companies, they will still look similarly as they will look on their own websites too. So don't hesitate looking on those type of places.
Yeah, like a talent pool. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly that. So for those roles, it's absolutely open applications are fine. But I do think it would be always a good idea to have your focus. So when you're sending in your CV to one of those, what roles are you hoping to get? Because only by doing that can you really keyword optimize your CV. So I would try and avoid a general CV and hope that they, fish you out for something. I'd rather send it with a role in mind, just to make sure that you're giving yourself the maximum chance of being selected.
Or at least a team, or area.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm interested in transaction and payable receivable.
Yeah, exactly.
Have a focus. Exactly. Yeah. What else? I think it would be good to say about recruiters.
So I think being aware of how they operate. So the thing is, and I
Yeah,
know when you purchase our services, you're automatically put into our referral group, which is such a brilliant group for brainstorming and relationship building and networking. But one thing to be aware of as well, guys, is that not everything is advertised in such a public space. So we have what's called a
yeah,
hidden job market, which is very much based on people getting jobs on referral, on networking, on direct relationship building. So try where possible to break through your comfort barriers and approach recruiters and try and build relationships so that your profile is circulating and known even prior to roles being advertised. Because by doing that, you're really stressing your interest. And as a recruiter, I used to love when talent would approach me and be like, look, I totally understand, if there's nothing happening in your books right now, but this is my profile. I'd love to be in communication with you. Those type of candidates really stand out. It's quite different from being a passive job seeker and a job hunter. And I think when it comes time for interview, you've really already established that relationship. So it makes the interview feel much more like a conversation because that sense of trust has been developed as well.
exactly, exactly. And again, guys, please use ChatGPT
Yeah.
to draft a good message to people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I say good message, it's like, hello, my name is X. I came across your contact detail on that group or in LinkedIn or whatever place. And I could see you are open to do referral. I just came across this position as customer service, and I would be very glad if you could help me, during this referral application. Are you open to refer me?
Yeah.
Please let me
Yeah.
know if you want to have a chat to discuss further. Thank you very
Mm.
much. It's not like, hi, I found your contact. I'm looking for a referral.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
come on. Please, come on,
Yeah.
guys. Like they're
Yeah.
not your mom, they're not your dad, they're not your siblings. Like people
Yeah.
don't know you. It's so rude if like send any type of message. Hi, good morning. I'm looking for a referral. Can you help me? No,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like
No, it
that.
doesn't work that
Like,
way.
Tana, it's very difficult for me to craft such a message. ChatGPT. Come
It's
on,
there for
guys.
that.
ChatGPT is for that.
Yeah. And it's a
Seriously.
really easy thing to use. Like, don't be scared. For those of you who have never used ChatGPT before, don't be scared of it. Download it on your computer. The average everyday user account is free, and that's more than efficient. You don't need an optimized account.
Yeah,
And play with it. Create an email template for a new job.
yeah.
Create an email template for a recruiter. Play with it and see how it works. It's so easy, guys. And really, it's so helpful. It is one of the best tools that you can put in your pocket as a job seeker.
Because what happens is you're going to lose opportunities because you're not being polite.
Yeah.
Europeans hate unpolite people and unprofessional
Yeah.
people. The more north you go,
Nor exactly.
yeah, like the
Exactly.
Nordics, like Germany, Norwegian, Swedish, the more
Yeah.
polite you have to be, like
Yeah.
super, hyper, mega polite, like
Yeah.
Italians, Spanish, they're
It's a bit more
they're
relaxed.
not as, yeah, they're more relaxed,
Yeah.
but still, like it's always very good to receive a well-crafted and polite message. French people
Absolutely.
hate unprofessional messages.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sacrilege. But think about it. How would you feel? Because that's your remember, your first communication is your first professional engagement. So it sets a tone for the kind of professional you are. So do you want to be viewed as someone rude, someone who doesn't, use their manners, someone who doesn't execute basic decorum? No, you want to be viewed as professional, polite, friendly, open, and
Exactly.
respectful. Set the first
Exactly.
tone right.
Yeah, and I don't know how to write this type of messages. ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before there were a window for error.
Mm.
Now, no.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's
Seriously.
so true. It's so true.
Paulo, I had an interview about 1 week ago. Should I ask the recruiter for feedback? So when did the recruiter said he would give you feedback? So if the recruiter said 1 week, wait 8 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say it was last week. Okay. She said, did you ask her? Do you know when
This
the
is what I
feedback?
was going to say.
Yeah.
This
So
is important.
if
And
you
you can
don't
do
know,
this, guys.
yes, of course. Amazing. So
Yeah.
that's actually your opportunity to say, look, you didn't say anything about when the feedback would be. Do you
Yeah.
have any, or how would you say, Shona?
I would say it was such a pleasure to meet with you last week. I felt the interaction or the interview was great. I walked away with lots of wonderful insights. Can I just check with you? What is your timeline on making a decision? I remain at your
Yeah.
disposal. Here's my telephone number. Here's my email address. You're asking for a timeline. You're not putting them under pressure to
Yeah.
give you an answer. You're just telling them, what's the timeline in terms of making a decision?
Yes.
Just to give them a little boost.
Very good. We have here, Glaucia, ChatGPT is here to help us. Very good. Very good.
It's a friend. It's a friend.
Yeah, it's a friend. How do you find a good headhunter, apart from the fact that they specialize in your area of expertise? So that's the thing. You don't find the headhunter. The headhunter finds you.
Yep. If they're a good one, they find you. But how do you know if you're in communication with a good one? I would always recommend check the recommendations page of once they've approached you on LinkedIn, accept the connection, have a look at their recommendations page, see if any past clients or people who've worked with them have made a comment, but you really won't know until you're in communication. What would gauge a good headhunter for me? Do they keep their promises in terms of timeline? Do they keep you up to date with their roles, how it's going? Do they give you feedback, whether it's positive or critical? And do they share their personal contact details with you and not just a generic info email address? For me, they would be some of the flags I would be looking for.
Yeah. And again, guys, remember, a headhunter is not your friend.
No.
Okay?
No, they're not.
A headhunter makes money selling candidates to companies. Companies pay them. They are on the company's side. They are where the money is. Okay? Which means if you are not in the pool of talent they are recruiting for, you are nothing. They won't, they will talk to you. They'll make like, yes, I can, like we keep in touch, or you send your CV, and then they will disappear and they will not answer you, because for them, time is money. And if you don't have the experience, or you don't have the requirements their clients are looking for. So headhunters are not there to be hired, because you don't pay them. The money is not coming from you. The money is coming from the companies. Do you understand? Ty, hello. I'm a little late tomorrow. I have one interview for customer care. Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for me? Yes. Get the job description. All right. And make all the job, the description of the job, make them as question and answer yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Have examples ready to go. Know what your achievements are. Be ready to use them as examples of what you can do. Get familiar with the STAR methodology. And remember, you are the star of your interview. So all of your achievements, I achieved this, I contributed this, I impacted with this. It's all about you. Don't worry about your team. You're selling yourself tomorrow. Good luck.
Yeah, that's actually, Ricardo said in the interview last week, sorry, he was like, Brazilians have this thing of saying, we. I don't want to know about your team. I want to know about you, what you did. So you can say, I worked, or I support my team. So we as a team did this, but I contributed in the project doing ABC.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Exactly.
I know it was the team, but in the team, what did you do to contribute to achieve that result?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You've got to take credit for yourself. And
Yeah.
remember, in a customer service job, there's a few skills you really want to highlight: your ability to critical think, your ability to problem solve, your ability to collaborate, and your ability to be innovative. So, finding solutions, be a solution provider. So, you really want to translate that across with your answers.
And again, remember, how can you add value?
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you add
Absolutely.
value? What do you mean, Tana? How can I add value? All right. So, from your past experience, from your academic background, from your own personality, how
Yeah.
can you add value in the team? What are the good things you do that
Mhm.
could, bring positive results and positive um, things to the team? Do you understand?
Mhm.
So, I always suggest my clients to do personality tests before the interview, because in this personality tests, you know much better your personality. So you can say, "Look, I am a result driven," or "I am I am a team management,"
Mm.
which means like I love to work. I love to help my teammates, my colleagues, to achieve a result or a better results. So I
Mhm.
don't I rather like work as a team than on my
Yeah.
own to get to where we have to get to go, or
Mhm.
whatever, or results or KPIs or whatever. You have to remember, know yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. And be aware of your weaknesses too. Just know that whenever you answer a question about your weaknesses, that you immediately support it with the proactive things you're doing to improve it. So we all have weaknesses. That's normal. That's
Yeah.
normal. And actually
Um,
being able to identify your weaknesses is pretty important as well.
yeah.
Um
So I
but,
suggest
oh,
you
super.
guys to do this 16 personalities. It's a personality test, one of the best ones, and it's really worth it.
Yeah.
Um, and you have the saboteur test.
Oh yes, that's a
Saboteur
really good
test,
one.
yeah. That's I don't know the name of the website. I just know the link. So that's the link. You go to Google and put like saboteur test Novi survey. It's free. Both tests are free, and you know your weaknesses and you know your strengths, your personality, because it's very hard to tell recruiters about yourself in English. And
Mm,
then you have all the answers there. Okay?
yeah.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Any more questions, everyone? We are
There's one
getting to
here
the
from
final part of our interview, our YouTube. So if you have
yes.
any other questions, just send it over.
One here from Patricia. I'm just saying, thank you so much for the amazing tips. You're so welcome, Patricia. May I just ask, would you say during the interview that you are at the end of your maternity leave? Of course. So remember that recruiters are, I know how you can feel, because there was an essence or a sense that at a certain time a woman couldn't say she was having a baby because, heaven forbid, no one wants to hire her. But actually, you bring so much value as well when you say, actually, I'm just about to finish, whether it's a sabbatical, I spent a year traveling. I'm just about to
Yeah,
finish my master's. I elaborated my education. I'm just coming back from maternity. Now I've had my family. I'm so excited to come back to my career. It doesn't matter what you've done with your time, taking care of a person sick within your family, using time for professional or personal development. What's important is that you demonstrate how excited and ready you are to jump
yeah,
back into the workforce.
yeah, exactly. Very good, actually. And you should add as well in your LinkedIn and your
Yep.
CV.
Yeah.
So if it was like a year, 2 years, add in your LinkedIn maternity leave. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
In
It is.
Europe, it's totally fine to add it. Actually, it's better to have a gap, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And it's all bring it, like I said, it's just being excited. Like I know for me, I've had two maternity leaves. And being at home with a kid is really, really tricky. It's really hard, actually. And you realize that you're thinking all the time about being mom and taking care of your baby. And then the idea of going back to work and doing things that excite you in terms of your professional development, it's really nice. So if you can convey that enthusiasm and that excitement to step back and go back to learning and participating, if you can give that enthusiasm, that's all you need to do. And that can be, like I said, for anything, an academic break, a maternity break, a professional development break. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what we should also add here in the secret insights for getting a job, it's the initial approach, like how you present yourself in your resume. It's how you present yourself to the recruiter. I think it needs all to be aligned.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's so frustrating when you bring like a client that the resume it's superstar,
Yeah.
and when you interview the person, it's a disaster. You go like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. It's bringing it all together. Remember, it's a full package: the CV, the LinkedIn, and the interview. If you know how to craft it all together into the perfect package, but it's knowing, often I think sometimes candidates, they can talk about themselves, but in a written sense. But when it comes to actually being able to demonstrate that face to face, their confidence can fall down. That's why you have to get comfortable with your profile. You have to really analyze your skill set, your achievements, and get used to saying, yeah, I've done lots in my career, actually. I've done a
Yes,
really good job. And get comfortable standing up and speaking about your contributions.
exactly. Because sometimes we are
Yeah,
afraid to say the good things we've done, right?
totally.
Shy,
Absolutely.
or you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
you're just an imposter.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Imposter syndrome. That is the term. For anyone that's not aware of that, it's where you step into a space and you feel you haven't earned the right to be there. So for a lot of people, they might experience imposter syndrome. Well, I guess we both know
Yes,
about it. Maybe your first management role. Tana, when you opened up your company, you're like, oh my God, I'm a company
yes,
owner. And it probably felt so
yes.
strange at the
It was so
beginning.
strange. The first time someone called me boss, I was like,
What?
I'm not a boss. I was like, what? Yeah, yeah, boss. And I'm like, actually, I am a boss now.
Yeah, absolutely. Or one of the areas I see clients feel imposter syndrome all the time is when I call them bilingual and they're like, but I'm not fluent. I'm like, hang on a minute. We're talking about your career in English. Yes, you are
Exactly, you
bilingual. You
are.
have to own
Yes,
it. You got to own it.
exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
about having
That's
confidence.
right. That's
So
so
it's really
true. They're like,
own
I'm
your
not
profile.
bilingual. You are. You're speaking English. You're
Yep.
in Ireland.
Yeah. Exactly. So you got to own it, guys. You got to be confident. And oftentimes that's where companies like ours, we really come in to help candidates because we sit down and analyze your profile with you. We help you identify. Like someone might say, oh, I don't really have achievements. And then 5 minutes after they're finished speaking to us, like, oh, I did this and I did this. And it all starts to come out for them because it's just they've never really known how to analyze what they've done before. So
Exactly.
being aware of who you are and what you've done is super important to selling yourself
Yeah.
successfully.
And yes, Patricia, there is nervousness in the
Totally.
interview and everyone's afraid. But
For
again,
sure.
you have to prepare yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
You have to, the day before, don't study, because you have to relax. All right.
Mhm.
And you
Totally.
have to study, like the 3-4 days prior. But the day
Yeah.
before the interview, relax.
Yeah.
And also, like I always take some, like no stress pills, the
Oh yeah,
natural
like
ones, like
homeopathy. Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
helps.
But just, yeah, do
Yeah,
what makes you feel good. Go for a walk, do yoga, have a swim, whatever it is that gets your mind down. That's not over processing, that's not over analyzing. If you've done your homework effectively, the day before the interview, as Tana said, it's chill, zen.
exactly. And again, if you're prepared, don't be afraid. Everything is gonna be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Lilian, girls, do you think at resume made in Canvas, it doesn't work well in work platforms? They don't.
Yeah,
AI
no,
system
unfortunately.
identify well? No, do not identify. The Canvas one are super dangerous, super
Yeah.
dangerous. I always suggest to use ATS friendly websites to create your resume, like
Yeah.
the one we use, which is
Yeah.
resume.io, right?
Yeah. And there's Nova Resume, and then there's
Resume,
exactly, the second one is resume.io. So they're basically different
this one.
platforms that give us options for creating our CVs, our client CVs. So we create always an initial corporate feeling document. This is the most ATS friendly you can get. But for clients that want something a little bit more
Mhm.
creative, as part of our September promotion, we're offering a second copy, which is in a slightly more creative format. These are
Yeah,
proven to be ATS friendly, but most of what you
yeah.
find on the internet actually isn't. So you got to be careful.
Have to be super careful. So
Yeah.
JobScan is the one that is 100% ATS friendly.
Yeah.
Resume.io as well. Again, Canvas, it's tricky. I wouldn't use
Yeah.
Canvas.
Same. I'm going to put Nova.
Only if you are a creative.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
creative,
But as well,
and
if you're
that's the
creative,
Nova
guys, you
resume.
should be using your portfolio should be more about that. So don't get too hung up
Yeah.
on that. Otherwise, a very corporate CV is fine. There's actually one thing that's just come into my mind now about the do's and don'ts for recruiters. And it's one thing I've seen come up before for my candidates. Be really mindful, guys, of your digital footprint, because recruiters can check. So if your social media is set to public, make sure that the content you're sharing is appropriate and in line with your professional direction. And also for your Gmail, if you've assigned, if
My
you've
sister,
assigned, our favorite follower, it's
our
amazing.
favorite
Thank you.
follower, is always
um,
in the light.
it's amazing. But if you can, when for Gmail, for example, or WhatsApp, you can put a profile picture. Make sure that that picture you've got is professional, guys. You'd be surprised the amount of people I've seen that maybe don't have a shirt on or at the bar with drinks, or it's not the place for that. Anywhere that a recruiter can reach out to you and your picture becomes visible, then that picture should be sending out an image of what you want professionally. So just be careful with that one.
Yeah, exactly. And I had something else in my mind, just in my mind, just now. It was, oh yes, lies in the CV.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Big no.
Oh, got professionals, my international professionals, you have to be so careful to lie in the CV. Like, seriously, everything, it's so easy for the recruiter to caught a lie during the interview.
Mm-hmm.
So if you made up, that you worked in X company because you want to add extra experience that you didn't have,
Yeah.
or like if you say that you did A, and during the interview you cannot explain yourself that how you did
Yeah.
it, when you did it, like it's so bad, so bad.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful, because sometimes if the recruiter don't catch during the interview, it will be catched in the screening,
The
the
performance
screening of
window.
the,
Yeah, totally.
what's the name, background
The
check.
technical screening, the background checking, and the technical
Yes.
screening,
So
for
what is the
sure.
background check? What is the background check? So LinkedIn, the process in LinkedIn was pre-screening, application, pre-screening, first interview, second interview, third interview, fourth interview. So then after the fourth interview, you passed the interviews. You didn't pass, like the role itself. So
Mm.
we used to say you passed in this, you passed in the interviews process, but now we have the last step of the process, which is the background check. If you pass the background check, then we offer you the position.
Yeah.
So we were paying a third-party company to call in Portuguese in Brazil to each company you had in your CV. Sometimes for all the financial roles, they were doing financial and as financial check.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you didn't have like any criminal records or
Oh, yeah, of
any
course. Yeah.
loss, like credits,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
imagine you're a financial analyst and you owe money, like to the
Yeah.
bank.
Yeah.
No.
So really thorough checking.
Yeah, so be careful
Yeah.
about information. You have to be precise. So
Yeah.
if you start in January, okay, don't think, I think I start on May, I'm gonna put May. No, be sure you started on May.
Yeah. Yeah,
Go
absolutely.
back to your contract, the work contract, or go back to the we have a carteira de trabalho. It's like it's in Brazil. So
Mhm.
so we have like this is so old fashioned. Sure, in Brazil we have like a proper physical like book
Oh,
where they put,
really?
yeah, so
All
you
your
have all
stamps.
your works, yeah, all the all the companies with stamp, like signed that you worked in that company for X time. It's so
Yeah.
old
Well, I'm not
fashioned.
very good with technical things, so that book sounds like it would be perfect for me because I'm old-fashioned. I'm not very good with tech.
Dana, sorry, could you write again the name of the resume platforms? So it's JobScan, Novo, so that's it, novoresume.com.
Mhm.
And then we have
Oh,
resume.io.
oh,
And we have this is the best,
.com. Yeah.
jobscan.co. Okay.
Just one thing about lies on the CV, actually, guys, because I've had this state very recently with a client and we managed it really well. So there was a technology that he was missing called Python, and he knew it was essential to the work he wanted to do. So rather than make up a lie and say he had experience with Python, what we did was add it into his summary to say that he's passionate about developing knowledge in Python and is
Yeah.
self-learning on the internet. So you can find ways to get in the information that
Mhm.
you want. So maybe you want to eventually work in Spain. So you can say currently self-studying Spanish. You can put it in a way that's not going to be detrimental to you. So just you can find
Yeah,
ways, but don't put anything that will incriminate you as a liar. That's really, I think, what we're trying to say.
exactly. Because it's so bad.
Yeah,
Or,
no, you got to be
like
careful.
say that you speak Spanish and you don't, and then you go for
Yeah.
a language test.
Yeah. Or the recruiter is like, hola. You're like, oh my goodness.
Hola, hola, ¿qué tal? No, because Brazilians, they do that, like they go like
Okay.
Portuguese fluent, native, English advanced, and Spanish fluent. But no one speaks Spanish in Brazil, like. And then you try to speak Spanish, they go like, "Oh, it's Portuñol."
Oh, I love it. Hilarious. That's because
So
they're like, those
no,
Irish only speak English. They'll never know.
no, it's like Americans when you get to know an American, and you're like, "Where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from America, but I'm Irish too." And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Are you American or you're Irish with this American accent? I don't know if you're Irish." No, because my grandfather is Irish, so you're not Irish.
They're very proud of being Irish, I have to say. I have to say they like their heritage. Good.
Yes, it's
But
just
yeah,
like Brazilians with Italian passport. I'm Italian. No, you're not Italian. You have the Italian passport. That's
listen.
it. You're still Brazilian. And like Brazilians, when they get the Italian passports, they're super, proud. I've got the Italian passport. I'm Italian. But when you go to Italy, they treat you like shit. And then when first time I went to Italy, I was like, I'm Brazilian. I'm Brazilian, and I'm Brazilian forever. I'm not Italian. Just
Yeah,
have the passport, the Italian
yeah.
passport. I don't
I'm
want to be
just here for
Italian.
the pizza.
I'm I'm just here for the pizza and for the prosecco. That's it. Guys, we are actually going to
I
the
think we've answered everything.
end.
We're
We
getting
had
better with the
everything.
timekeeping,
Yes,
Tana.
I know. Yes, we got our time here. And thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
thank you for joining us, guys.
Yeah, it was so good. We had a lot of questions.
Yeah, we
Good.
sure did. We've had really good audiences for these Monday check-ins. So thank you so much for all the participants. It's been so good to interact with you and hopefully share some nice insights. And yeah, hopefully we'll be coming across some of our clients again in the future for interview preparations and consultations, and
Yeah.
because the learning never stops.
Yes, exactly. So have a
good evening, all.
good evening, good morning, whoever is
Good
watching us.
night.
Good night for me. Bye. See you in the next
Good
live.
night, all.
Bye.
Bye.